Ben Shapiro, a former U.S. ambassador to Israel, said, quote, "The United States security aid to the Palestinian Authority is the glue that has helped ensure that the Palestinian-Israeli security cooperation continues and that has successfully thwarted terrorist attacks," end quote. As the affirmative team, we simply stand that the United States aid is what holds Israel and Palestine together in cooperation, and this cooperation has helped stop terrorist attacks. But we can see in the current system that this cooperation is being harmed. Ultimately, I'll be responding to all of the points brought up in the last 13 minutes of speeches through 3 points. First, talking about the harms. Second, talking about the advantages. And lastly, talking about justice. First, let's look at the harms. Well, the first harm that we can see is that Israel is threatened. Israel is threatened. Now, when the United States passes a policy, we want to do it with the United States' interests in mind, typically. So we want to protect our ally, specifically Israel. Israel is one of the United States' strongest allies, and we can see that Israeli officials said, quote, "If America does not change the law, it will harm a top Israeli security interest," end quote. Ultimately, if the ATCA is not fixed, Israel will be endangered, and Israel will be endangered. So that is not in the United States' interest. An ally of the United States will be endangered. But ultimately, we can see that counterterrorism is hurt. Counterterrorism is hurt. Now, when in cross-examination, in the first cross-examination that I had him quote something along the lines of this. Scott R. Anderson, a previous attorney advisor at the State Department, said, quote, "This assistance," speaking of the United States aid to the Palestinian Authority, "has fostered substantial Israeli-Palestinian security cooperation that has proven effective at reducing the threat of terrorist attacks," end quote. Now, their contention is that the current system is able to hold its own. Well, my response is simple. It is not. Because this cooperation is what was able to stop the terrorist attacks, not the current system. We can see that this cooperation, however, is being harmed. Nahib Kaddoumi, a member of the Palestinian National Council, said, quote, "Coordination on security is not what it used to be. It has been significantly scaled down. I think the Palestinian Authority will gradually free itself from security coordination," end quote. And that was, again, from last week. Now, their response was simply that, well, they don't have to stop continuing coordination with Israel and Palestine. My response is simple. They may not have to, but ability is not, intent is not ability. The fact that they may want to continue coordination with Israel does not mean that they physically can. And the fact is that they physically can't because they do not have the United States aid. It is impossible for this to continue for much longer. We can see again that the United States aid is the glue that holds Israel and Palestine together. But that brings me to my advantages. The advantages of passing the affirmative policy. First, coordination is no longer harmed, or coordination is restored. We can see that when the Palestinian Authority receives the United States aid, one thing will happen. The United States Security Coordinator will step in and resolve the conflicts that are between Palestine and Israel, bringing them closer together and having stronger relations. Secondly, we can see that Israel is protected. Israel is protected. Again, this coordination has been proven successful at stopping terrorist attacks. Now, I'd like to talk a little bit about justice, but before I get there, I'd like to talk about end-use monitoring. Now, he said I was going to talk about end-use monitoring, and he's absolutely correct. I'm going to talk about end-use monitoring, because end-use monitoring was used in the past on the Palestinian Authority, and while he may say that it's not adequate at seeing how aid is used, that's completely incorrect, and he did not provide any evidence saying that the Palestinian Authority, or if, in fact, the end-use monitoring has ever been incorrect in its assessments. But we can see that the Palestinian Authority has a spotless record when it comes to end-use monitoring, and we can also see that all of the United States aid that goes to the Palestinian Authority, as was stated in our mandate, is specifically used for counterterrorism purposes and is monitored extremely closely. Now this brings me down to justice. Justice. This is an extremely important argument in today's debate round because the negative team's contention and their goal is justice. But as the affirmative team, we truly do want justice. But justice is not possible in the current system. The Palestinian Authority refused the United States aid and thus cannot be sued underneath the ATCA, a point that I don't believe the negative team truly understands. Now, they said that it's unequal application of the law. My response, again, is simple. I would like to refer you back to my partner's speech. They did not respond to her response. Essentially, the response is that the United States interests should be valued above anything else when creating a foreign policy. That's why, because we will be protecting Israel, and we will be countering Hamas, that I ask that you stand with the affirmative team. Thank you.